I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here writing all this out, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been married to Emily for about 5 years now. We met young, fell for each other fast, and somehow I convinced myself she was the one. She had that sharp tongue, always quick with a snarky comment, but I figured that was just her personality, kind of her charm. She could be bitchy, yeah, but I loved her, or at least I thought I did. We had a pretty good routine. I worked as a marketing manager, she was a graphic designer. We'd go out on weekends, sometimes travel, sometimes just sit at home and binge on Netflix. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was enough. That was until a few months ago when I started noticing little things. She'd stay out late claiming it was work, or she'd be secretive about her phone. I'd catch her nervously deleting texts, or her being just a little too defensive when I'd ask about her day. I brushed it off at first. Maybe she was stressed, maybe she was just busy, but then I found her phone one night. I No, I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't resist. I wasn't snooping to catch her cheating, I just wanted to see if she was hiding something. I saw a string of messages with someone named Mike. The tone was flirty, a little too intimate for a friend. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. I confronted her about it the next day. She rolled her eyes, scoffing like I was stupid. "Oh, come on, Jake. It's just sex talk. Boys and girls do that all the time." She waved her hand dismissively, but her cheeks were flushed and her voice was a little too defensive. I pressed her, asking if she'd been with this Mike, if there was more than just messages. Her reply: "You're overreacting, we're just friends, it's not a big deal." But I knew better. I felt it deep down. Something was wrong and I wasn't imagining it. Then came the anniversary. We had plans to go out to a fancy restaurant and I was nervous about proposing, thought I'd do it that night. The timing felt right, everything seemed perfect. I'd been planning it for weeks, but as soon as we arrived I noticed her acting weird. She was distracted, glancing at her phone, avoiding my eyes. I saw her slip her phone into her purse the moment I looked over. That's when I decided to follow her, just a suspicion, nothing concrete. What I saw that night totally wrecked me. She texted someone, not Mike this time, but someone else, and they were planning to meet up. She told him she couldn't wait to see him. I didn't even think twice. That was it. I followed her as she left the restaurant, saw her get into some guy's car. I watched from a distance as they disappeared into a nearby hotel. I stood there, trembling, realizing my wife, my entire damn life, had been lying to me from the start. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. I felt numb, like I'd been punched in the stomach with a steel fist. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was watch her walk into that hotel, holding someone else's hand, knowing she'd been lying about everything, us, our life, the vows I thought meant something. I've never felt so foolish, so betrayed in my life. And that's just the beginning of what's to come. After I saw her go into that hotel with the guy, I couldn't move. I just stood there, frozen, heart pounding so loud I was sure everyone around could hear it. My mind was racing, trying to process what I just witnessed. I kept thinking, how long has this been going on? Was I blind? Or just stupid for not seeing it sooner? Honestly, I felt like my entire world was crumbling. I didn't want to just run up there and confront her right then. Part of me was in shock and part of me was furious. Furious at her, furious at myself, furious that I'd trusted her for so long. I didn't want to make a scene, not at that moment, but I knew I had to act. I pulled out my phone, somehow managing to call her. Her phone rang in her purse and I watched her pull it out and answer. The sound of her voice made my stomach turn because I just knew, she was lying to me again, trying to act innocent. When she answered, I heard her bitchy tone immediately. "Jake, what the hell do you want? I'm busy." That tone, it was the way she dismissed me, like I was nothing, like I was bothering her. That stupid little voice inside my head kept telling me, that's new, that's not how she usually talks when she's caught. But I didn't say anything right away. All I could do was stare at her, feeling a mixture of heartbreak and rage boiling underneath. I finally managed to choke out, "Who is that? Who are you meeting at that hotel?" Her eyes narrowed and she scoffed. "Are you seriously that jealous? It's just some guy I was talking to." Nothing going on, I swear. That was her first lie. I could see her trying to play it off, acting like I was overreacting. The way she said nothing going on made my blood boil even more. I knew better. I knew her too well. I told her I was coming to get her. She started yelling, calling me paranoid, saying I was crazy for spying. She claimed she was just trying to figure things out, whatever that meant. She threw in some classic lines. "You think I'm cheating because I don't feel the same anymore," or "You're just insecure." But I wasn't stupid anymore. I had seen the proof with my own eyes. That was the moment I realized I'd been living in a lie since the day we met. All those little lies, all those excuses. I was blinded by love, or maybe just my own stupid hope that she'd change. Seeing her so bitchy, so defensive, made me hate her even more. She's always been like that, sharp-tongued, quick to lie, and always with some excuse ready. That's who she is, Emily. She's always been good at twisting things, making me doubt myself. I tried to keep calm, but inside I was boiling over. I told her I knew about the affair, I saw her cheating, and I was done listening to her bullshit. The line was crossed. I told her I'd come pick her up, and if she refused, I'd come get her anyway. She hung up on me then, cursing, calling me an overreacting idiot. But I knew I couldn't let her get away with this. I waited outside her office, watching her come out looking guilty as hell, eyes darting around. When she saw me, her face went pale. She tried to act normal, like she wasn't just caught cheating, but I didn't buy it. She kept saying she was sorry, it was a mistake, but I wasn't buying any of that anymore. That's when I realized she'd been lying since the start. She's always been that way. She's manipulative, she's selfish, and she has no remorse. The emotional wreckage hit me hard. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and deeply hurt. I never thought I'd be that guy, the guy who gets cheated on at his own anniversary party. Now I was stuck with this huge mess, trying to figure out what the hell I do next. I felt like I was losing my mind. How could I ever trust her again? How do you move past something like this? It's not just a betrayal, it's an identity-shattering event. I kept asking myself, could I forgive her? Or am I just fooling myself thinking this can be fixed? I haven't made any decisions yet, but I know this is going to change everything. My mind is racing, trying to come to terms with the fact that my wife, the woman I loved and trusted, has been lying and cheating behind my back. No matter how much I want to believe she's sorry, I can't shake the feeling that I've been played for a fool. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I kept replaying everything I saw, her sneaking out, those texts, her lying on the phone, her bitchy tone when she answered. It was like a bad movie I couldn't turn off. I tried to convince myself she might have just been confused or that maybe it was a one-time mistake, but deep down I knew better. The trust was gone, shattered into a million pieces, and I didn't see any way to glue it back together. The next morning I confronted her again. I needed answers, and honestly I needed to hear her say it outright. Was she cheating on me? Did she really sleep with that guy? She was still being her typical bitchy self, rolling her eyes and dismissing me like I was some sort of fool. "Jake, you're overreacting. It's not what it looks like," she said, crossing her arms. The way she said it so dismissively made me want to scream, because I knew exactly what it looked like. I knew what I saw. I pressed her, demanding honesty. I told her I'd been loyal, I'd given her everything, and she was just throwing it all away. That's when she snapped. "You don't own me, Jake. Maybe I needed to feel alive again. Maybe I wanted some fun, sex, you know. It doesn't mean I don't love you. You're just too damn insecure to see it." That line, that weak excuse, made me sick. She always has a way of twisting things, making herself the victim. That's her. She's always been good at that, the kind of person who can lie straight to your face and still sleep soundly at night. I told her she needed to leave. I couldn't do this anymore, not with her acting like she was entitled to cheat and lie. She looked at me, that smirk on her face, like she thought she was clever. "Fine. If you want me gone, I'll go. But you're just jealous, Jake. Jealous that I found someone who actually cares about me. You're so insecure, you can't handle the fact that I'm still alive, still sexy, and still a lot better than you." That's when I really started to feel the anger boil over. I'd never seen her so bitchy, so cruel. But I guess that's who she is, cold, selfish, manipulative. I told her I'd file for divorce if she left. She just laughed and said she'd see me in court. Honestly, I didn't know what I was more angry about, her cheating or her attitude. It was like she thought this was some game, some way to hurt me just for fun. But I knew I had to get out of there, get away from her before I did something I'd regret. I packed my things that night and I left her sitting there, smirking at me like she'd won some twisted prize. That night, I stayed up all night trying to process what just happened. I was so numb I couldn't cry, couldn't think straight. The betrayal cut so deep I felt like I'd lost a part of myself. All those years, all that love, gone in a flash. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it coming, how I was so blind. That's the worst part, knowing she'd been lying to my face for months, maybe longer, and I hadn't even realized it. I kept wondering, was I just stupid? Or was I stupid for loving her at all? I guess I was both. I knew I had to decide what to do next. Do I fight for the marriage? Do I just walk away and cut my losses? The thought of divorce scared me, but staying with her seemed worse. How do you rebuild trust after being betrayed like that? Can you? Or do you just accept it, live with the fact that the woman you loved has been lying, cheating, and playing you for a fool? Honestly, I don't have the answers yet. All I know is that my world has been turned upside down, and I'm just trying to hold it together while figuring out what's next. Over the next few days, I didn't leave the house much. I'd wake up in the morning, stare at the ceiling, and think about everything I saw and heard. It's like my mind was stuck in a loop, replaying her voice, her smirk, those texts, every damn detail. I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal, of being played for a fool. Honestly, I felt like I'd been hit by a truck, then dragged through the mud and left to bleed out. My trust in her, the one thing I thought was unbreakable, was shattered into tiny pieces. I kept asking myself, can I ever trust her again? Or was it just naive to believe in her at all? I knew I had to confront her again, especially since I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to save this mess or just walk away. So I called her up, told her I needed to talk face to face. She came over that afternoon, looking snippy and defensive as usual. Her bitchy attitude was still there, like she thought she was better than me, but I didn't care anymore. I just wanted answers. We sat down in the living room and she started with her usual, "Jake, I swear it's not what you think." I cut her off right away. "No, Emily, I think it is exactly what I saw. I saw you sneaking out with some guy, getting into a hotel, lying about everything. Tell me, how long has this been going on, since we met? Or just the last few months?" Her face twitched, and she looked like she was about to say something, but I kept going. "Don't bullshit me, I want the truth, because I deserve that much after everything." She rolled her eyes, scoffing. "You're so paranoid. Maybe I just needed some fun, Jake. Sex, you know. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I'm not some cheating slut, just tired of your insecurities." That was her typical bullshit. I stared at her, trying to process how she could be so bitchy, so dismissive after everything I'd seen. I felt my stomach tighten up with anger and sadness all at once. How could she be so callous? So selfish. I told her I was done playing her games. Either she told me everything or I was walking away for good. She huffed and crossed her arms, refusing to answer directly. Instead, she started with her usual blame shifting. "You're just jealous. You don't understand what I need. You're controlling." It was like listening to a broken record. Nothing new, just her trying to manipulate her way out of it. Finally, I snapped. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "You've lied to me from the very beginning. Every time you said you were working late, every time you dismissed my concerns, you were actually with someone else. I saw what you did, Emily. You think you can just lie your way out of this, but I'm done. If you want to keep lying, then fine, but don't expect me to stay. I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust you again, and honestly, I don't want someone like you in my life." She looked stunned for a second, then sneered. "You think you're so perfect, don't you? Like you're the victim here. You're just mad because I don't want to be some obedient little wife who stays home and keeps her mouth shut. I'm tired of pretending, tired of your control. If you want to kick me out, go ahead. But I won't be the one to apologize for wanting a little excitement, something you clearly can't give me." That's when I realized how deep this went. She was so bitchy, so full of herself, she actually thought she had done nothing wrong. That she was entitled to cheat because I was too insecure or controlling. The audacity. I told her she needed to leave, that I couldn't do this anymore. She snapped back, calling me a jealous idiot, and stormed out, leaving me alone with my thoughts and this sinking feeling that I'd lost everything. The emotional fallout was brutal. I felt like I'd lost not just my wife, but my sense of reality. How could someone I loved so much betray me so horribly? I couldn't help but feel stupid, stupid for trusting her, stupid for thinking she was different from all the other women who'd lied to me before. The pain was overwhelming, and I didn't know if I'd recover from this. But one thing was clear, I had to figure out what kind of life I wanted now because what I'd had was gone. Forever. That night was the worst. I sat alone in the living room, staring at the wall, replaying everything. Her sneering face, those damning texts, her bitchy attitude as she walked out the door. I felt a deep emptiness inside, like I'd been gutted. My mind kept flashing back to the moments I thought were happy, the promises we made, and how they all turned out to be lies. It's like I was mourning a death, but the person I was mourning was the woman I thought I knew, Emily, the woman I loved. The betrayal cut so deep I didn't know if I'd ever come back from it. In the days that followed, I did everything I could to keep busy. I cleaned out her side of the closet, threw away her clothes, packed up her things just to make the house feel empty. Every little thing reminded me of her, her perfume, her favorite mug, the way she always left her shoes in the hallway. I kept asking myself if I was doing the right thing by kicking her out, or if I was just making things worse. But deep down, I knew I couldn't forgive her. Not now, not ever. My friends told me to file for divorce, to just cut my losses and move on, but I hesitated. Part of me still wanted to believe she might come back, that maybe she'd realize what she'd lost. But every time I thought about her, I remembered the way she lied, the way she dismissed my feelings, the way she's always been so bitchy and manipulative. That's when I realized she was never really committed. She was just good at pretending, just good at hiding the truth until she got caught. One day, I decided I needed to get some closure, something to help me understand what the hell just happened. I looked through her phone again, trying to find anything I might have missed. That's when I stumbled on even more messages. Not just with Mike or that guy from the hotel, but with other people, more than I could count. It was like a web of lies she'd spun from the moment we met. Every excuse she'd ever given, every busy night, every work dinner, had been a lie. I saw how she'd manipulated everyone around her, including me. That's when I started to realize the truth. Emily wasn't just some woman who cheated on me. She was a liar, a manipulator, a user. She'd lied since we met, probably even before that. Knowing this, I felt a mixture of sadness and anger. Sad because I'd trusted her, and angry because I'd been so stupid not to see it earlier. I kept thinking, was I just too blind? Or was I just fooling myself that she was different from all the other women who lied and cheated? I knew I had to make a decision. Could I forgive her? Could I even look at her again without feeling sick? The answer, honestly, was no. I couldn't. I felt betrayed to my core. If I stayed, I'd just be living a lie. If I left, it would hurt like hell, but maybe I'd finally be free. I started talking to a lawyer, figuring out the divorce process. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I couldn't keep living in this nightmare. Meanwhile, she tried to contact me a few times, but I blocked her number. I didn't want to hear her bullshit anymore. I didn't want to hear her bitchy excuses or manipulative words. I just wanted to be alone to process everything. Part of me kept hoping she'd come crawling back, but another part knew that was pointless. She's the kind of person who lies and cheats and then acts like she's the victim. I realized I'd been a fool for so long, thinking I could fix her, make her change. But she's who she is, bitchy, selfish, manipulative, and I can't live with that anymore. So I've made up my mind. I'm done. I'm filing for divorce and I'm gonna start over. Honestly, it feels like I'm starting from scratch, heart. Broken, betrayed, angry, but deep down I know it's for the best. I don't want to be with someone who lies to my face, who treats me like I'm nothing. I deserve better. I've learned a lot from this nightmare, about trust, about love, and about how sometimes people are just better at lying than you ever thought possible. And if I could give anyone advice, it's this: trust your gut. When something feels wrong, don't ignore it. Because once that trust is broken, it's almost impossible to fix. Now that I'm finally moving forward with the divorce, I can see how much this whole ordeal has changed me. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever fully trust anyone again, especially not someone I love. That betrayal cut so deep that it's like I've been scarred for life. But I also realize I'm better off without her, without the lies, manipulation, and bitchy attitude that she always carried so well. I've learned that love isn't enough when someone is willing to lie and cheat behind your back. It's a harsh lesson, but one I needed to learn. Looking back, I see now how blind I was. I ignored all those little signs, convinced myself she was just stressed or busy. I was so eager to believe in us that I missed the red flags, her secretive texts, her dismissiveness, her sneering attitude when I confronted her. I realize I should have trusted my instincts more. Instead, I gave her the benefit of the doubt way too many times, thinking she'd change or that it was just a phase. But she never did. She just lied and manipulated her way out of it every time. This whole experience has made me more cautious about who I let into my life. I refuse to be played again. I've learned the importance of boundaries and that I deserve honesty and respect. I'm not perfect. I know I've made mistakes too, but I refuse to be someone's fool anymore. I can't keep living with the suspicion, the doubts, and the constant feeling that I was just a placeholder in her game. It's hard. It's really fucking hard, but I'm trying to see this as a new beginning. I want to rebuild my life, find someone who actually respects me and doesn't play games. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I won't be settling for less. More. I'm finally realizing my worth, even if it took one hell of a betrayal to get here. To anyone out there going through something similar, I'll say this: trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs, even if you love someone. Because once that trust is broken, it's like trying to piece together a shattered mirror. Every crack shows, and it's never quite the same again. You deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect. Never settle for less, because you're worth so much more than someone who treats you like an option. I've lost a lot in this process: time, love, hope, but I've gained clarity. And that's something no one can take away from me now.